is going on, H0rr0rr? This is your boy H0rr0rgamer back with another video for you. And again, it's another H0rr0rgamer Reviews. And in this episode of H0rr0rgamer Reviews, I'm going to be reviewing a movie that I grew up watching. I probably watched it 1,000,000 times when I was a kid. You already see it in the title. But this is the point of the video where I have to tell you, your boy H0rr0rgamer Reviews have spoilers in it all day, every day. So if you haven't seen the movie, pause it now, go watch the movie, come back, let me know in the comment section what you think, if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if I'm full of shit, you know, the works. So I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and pause the video. I'll see you in a minute. All right, that's it. Your time's up. Anything after this point, it's on you if it gets ruined. So, with all that being said, the movie I'm going to be reviewing today, as you can see in the title, is, boom, Brainscan. Now, Brainscan for me was, I used to watch this movie like crazy when I was younger. If you don't know what Brainscan is, first off, let me get through these little fun facts of Brainscan for you. So, on the Rotten Tomatoes score card here, these kind of horror movies don't do that well. Got a 20%, but don't let that deter you. It's a 20% from critics. This isn't a critic movie. This is a fan movie. This movie was made for the fans. And before I get into my thing, the reason I'm doing this is from my boy H0rr0rr here. This is a shout out to you, buddy. I saw that you picked this to do on the Slashback Saturday, and I was like, damn, I haven't seen that movie in forever. So I watched it, and I wanted to do a video and a review of it. So I hope you enjoyed this, man. This one's for you, bud. Now, anyway, back to the fun facts. Now, the Google user score on this was actually at 95. So once again, that shows you this is a movie for the fans. This isn't a movie for the critics. Movies like this don't go good with critics. So don't let the Rotten Tomatoes score deter you from seeing this movie. Okay? That's my word of advice. Now, this movie was directed by John Flynn. And if you don't know who John Flynn is, he directed Out for Justice, which was a Steven Seagal movie back forever ago. It was a good one. It was before Steven Seagal got fat and needed CGI to do moves like in his newer movies. But it was a good movie. And he has a list, man, but Out for Justice really stuck out to me because I used to watch Out for Justice a lot too. Seeing the trend here, this guy's work is pretty good. Now, the movie stars Edward Furlong, which we all know plays John Connor in Terminator 2, which is the greatest Terminator and probably one of the best, if not the best, sci-fi movies ever made. He plays Michael. He plays the main character in the movie. Also in this movie is Frank Langella. He actually, if you don't know who Frank Langella is, he plays the detective in this movie, Detective Hayden. He plays in this movie. But he's also known for Masters of the Universe. He played Skeletor in Masters of the Universe. So he's in it. His character, he's really good. T. Ryder Smith plays the trickster. And to be honest with you, this is probably what he's most known for because as I was doing my research, couldn't find anything else with him in it really. Nothing notable. So this is basically a one-off for Mr. T. Ryder Smith here. But he kills it. Amy Hargraves, I think I'm saying her name right. She plays Kimberly. And she played in a show called The Offspring. I don't know, never heard of it. I just wanted to give you guys that if you guys wanted to look her up. I don't know. But she plays Kimberly, which is the love interest of Michael in this movie. And also it stars Jamie Marsh, which, if you don't know who he is, the only notable thing I saw him in was Beethoven 3. He played Bill. He actually plays Kyle in this movie, which is Michael's best friend. So the plot of this movie is basically Edward Furlong's character, Michael. He is a huge horror nut. He loves horror movies. He loves horror games. Anything horror. He's like your boy H0rr0rgamer in that fact. that he loves horror, I love horror, you know. Him and his buddy Kyle start up a horror club at school, which is pretty awesome, man. I wish I would have been able to do that. Well, anyway, so they're reading Fangoria. And as they're reading this Fangoria, there's this ad for Brainscan, which is this new interactive experience that basically fucks with your head and makes you feel like you're actually living a situation. So he's apprehensive at first, but then he ends up getting it. And then, oh boy, does it get fucking crazy. So he calls the Brainscan, he gets the disc, puts it in, and he's sitting on his chair and this bright light like engulfs him. And then you see it as through the first person view, where you're just seeing through his eyes, like you see his hands and shit. But you can hear somebody talking in the background. So he goes into the house of somebody he doesn't even know, just somebody who lives on his block. And he kills the guy. But this guy in his ear is telling him, look, there's a knife, pick one. There's a weapon, pick one. Don't leave any evidence, you know. Don't leave any witnesses. You have so much time, you got to be back or it's game over. Take a trophy. You know, so he kills this guy and then cuts the guy's foot off. And then he gets back to his house just in the nick of time, and then he wakes up. And he has like 5 minutes left or something. And he's like, oh my God, you know, like this is the greatest thing ever, you know. It felt so real. And he was all pumped about it. And then the next day they're going to school, and him and Kyle, Michael and Kyle are walking to school, and cops drive by. Here, there was a murder in the neighborhood. He's like, oh shit. And then Trickster comes into play. And Trickster is like, played by T. Ryder Smith. And let me tell you something. This guy Trickster is fucking awesome. You know, he comes out of the TV. He mind fucks Michael throughout this whole movie. But he does it in a funny, kind of fun way where he's like, you know, he asks him questions, like deep questions. And the acting in it, this isn't Shakespeare. Alright, this is a horror movie. T. Ryder Smith, my boy T. Ryder Smith did a good job. His acting was on point. So was Frank Langla. I don't know how to say his last name. As the detective, he was great. Edward, there was a couple points in the movie where Edward was forcing his dialogue. Like when he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, bro, you don't necessarily have to use the F word to get your point across. You're trying too hard. And so anyway, there's a the reason I bring this up because there's a point in the movie where these two go basically head to head at each other, not fighting but verbally, because Trickster tricked him into playing the game again after he found the foot in the fridge. Tricked him into playing the game again because there was a witness. And he played the game, and he come back, and he opens the fridge door, and his buddy's necklace, Kyle's necklace, was in the freezer. So he ended up killing Kyle. And him and Trickster really like yell at each other. And Trickster's upstairs like pigging out. It's so funny because the shit he eats, like he's sitting there listening to rock music and jamming out, and he's eating fucking hot dogs and bananas with mustard, like, and he has these long nasty fingers, and he's just shoveling it down. It looks disgusting. And they're yelling back and forth, and he's like, you need to play the game. You left a clue. You're not gonna have to kill nobody, but you left a clue in your last session. So they're fighting back and forth. Edward Furlong doesn't want to do it, but he ends up doing it anyway. So he goes in, he goes back into the game, and as he's cleaning out the clue, there's a neighborhood watch around. And the neighborhood watch is you know, looking for the killer at this point because there's been 2 murders. And so he ends up getting chased, and he gets grabbed, and he ends up kicking this thing of bricks down and crushes the guy who grabs him. And then he runs home. And then the Trickster He gets out of that part. But then the trickster tries to trick him into killing Kimberly, the love interest. And the acting between them two, there's scenes where they're supposed to be intimate, and it is terrible. Just the acting. I mean, the movie's fun, but the acting is just shit. But I mean, back in 1994, which if I didn't tell you, came out April of 1994. Actually, to be exact, April 22nd, 1994. So back in 1994, that was the pinnacle of acting at that point. So the big climactic ending. He's in the room with Kimberly, getting ready to stab her. Him and Trickster become one. And then he's getting ready to kill Kimberly, and then the detective comes up and shoots him in the chest. And when he shoots him in the chest, he wakes up. He's like, he wakes up on the night that he got the first disc. And he looks outside and there's a party going, and then basically he comes to find out that none of it actually happened. And then the video is telling him, well, we have relaxing tips for you. You've just experienced blah, blah, blah. And it's giving him instructions on how to relax. And he just flips the fuck out and destroys everything. So basically, in other words, none of it really happened. It was all just a dream. He was in a deep sleep, and he dreamed that all this was going on. That he killed his buddy, he killed the guy, Trickster, everything. He was just dreaming. So the next day, he takes the disc into school to show that the teacher who canceled the horror club, he gave the disc to the teacher. He said, I want you to try this for the new horror club. And it's the Brainscan game. And the teacher's looking at him, and he's sitting there smiling. He looks over, and then the trickster materializes at the teacher's desk, sitting on his chair, and gives him a smile, kind of like a wink. And then H0rr0r Furlong walks out. Movie over. So basically, he gave the disc to the teacher to fuck with the teacher as much as the game fucked with him. So that was a pretty good ending. I like that ending, and I'd have to say, the movie was really good back in 1994. Did it withstand the test of time? Yeah, kinda. Not fully, but kind of. In another 20 years, probably not. But as of right now, it's still kind of relevant. It's still not a bad movie. But if you really break down the acting like I did, it's kind of roughly acted. But it's still not a bad movie. I'd have to give it about a solid 8 because it's nostalgic for me. I used to watch it all the time with a buddy of mine, and we had the relationship basically that Kyle and Micheal had, best friends forever kind of deal with horror and all that stuff. And so we watched the shit out of this movie. So a solid 8, very nostalgic. Wouldn't mind seeing a remake if they could. I mean, with the technology we have nowadays, remake is pretty plausible. So, but alright, H0rr0r, that's been my review on Brainscan. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Come back. Let me know what you thought about it. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the dingly ding ding button so every time I make a video, you're not in the dark. But as always, this has been your boy H0rr0rgamer saying, don't fear the darkness. Embrace it.